Welcome to The Point of View. This is your favorite current affairs show here on ChannelOne television. Here on The Point of View, we get the right guests. We ask them relevant questions on issues that matter to you. In the lead up to election 2024, the issue of galamsey came to a head from October all the way through to election day. Ghanaians asked that we stop galamsey now. It's been 79 days since President Mahama became president. So what is the galamsey scorecard? His sector minister is my guest as we delve into what has been done to deal with this canker. Stay with us.
Fire pomudi ni agrubi Ghana fueni age efri say ya your local spices na ya frafra dia ya sankofa natural spice
me de go me jollof mu ni me still ahodoma e ma ne dance
Stanley the barbecue the go on
sankofa natural spices and one you use 100% natural said the happen
Adofo mamunye huge mistake sankofa natural spices the
FDA ejedi nkratu yatu.
Here's Kwame and Yao. After hours of planning, both have locked in the same perfect multi-bet. Big win for United, over 1.5. And both teams to score in the London Derby. But who could have picked Leicester over City? Or a high-scoring game at the Bridge? There's nothing worse than having your perfect multi-bet missing. But there's nothing better than having it saved. Bet saver, win, even if your bet misses.
Welcome back. So we're live tonight with the Honorable Armah-Kofi Buah Emmanuel, who is the MP for Elembele and also Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. Welcome to the show. Good evening.
Good to be here.
It's great to have you. How are you?
I'm doing great.
I've
always loved City. You
know? I know. From your days as Minister of Energy.
Yes.
There were rumors in the media that the Lands Ministry was the poison chalice because of the way the momentum to galamsey built. It was really a role not many people wanted. That's generally what we felt. Is this correct?
Well, I am here and I'm loving it.
You're loving it? Why did President Mahama give you that role? You were energy minister in the previous administration. You could have done anything because energy is a very complicated job.
Yes.
Why do you think he gave you the lands role?
Well, remember that I was the energy minister at a time where over 20 years of our failure to address systemic energy challenge came boiling down.
Yeah.
And we had also the issue of LPG lines. One morning there was a graphic newspaper was sent to me by the president. I said, "Well, have you seen the graphic today?" And look at the front page. Every problem there is yours. It was doom, so it was LPG line, and then there was something else. That was all related to energy. But I believe that I played my part strongly. And, if we talk about the gas solutions we brought, if we talk about the additional power, whether it's emergency and long-term power, all of that contributed to the stability. The LPG lines left because we produce almost 60% of LPG in our country. And so all of that contributed. I think that the president has stated to me that I could work in crisis. And so
he gives you difficult roles. So he knows this is a difficult job.
This yes, obviously. And when you walk into an office and your first briefing is that your country's forest reserves, 5,000 hectares, equivalent to 7,000 football fields, is gone. And that your whole forest reserve of 288.44 is completely under siege. That your 3 major river systems in the country is polluted to the extent that it cannot be treated. That the turbidity levels are beyond control, from 5,000 to 12,000 instead of 500. It's a serious crisis, and that even in your licensing regime, there's craziness there. You take this scorecard and realize that, okay, this is a huge problem. And so you start tackling it from day one.
Could it also be because you being from the western region, some reports suggest that the Western and Western North have become quite almost like an epicenter. Galamsey occurs in Eastern Ashanti, Western North, and part of BA. But there appears to be a concentration on the region of your origin. Could that be part of the reason why you think you were asked to do this job?
I just don't want to second guess the president. What I know is that I have been given a responsibility and working with, I'm very proud of the support I'm getting from the president. I'm coordinating with the key ministries that are very relevant in this fight. The Ministry of Defense, the Ministry of Interior, the Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology, and making sure that I get them, working with the Attorney General as well. And so all of these key players, I remember the first week, I write that I have an emergency presentation to the president. And he summoned everybody. And by the time we finished, he made it clear to all of the sectors that we need to make sure we focus on this. So if you see us, for example, when we were told that in a democratic, free country like ours, 9 of the forest reserves were a no-go area, overtaken by armed bandits. Then it was clear. So it's not surprised that we in the last few weeks have worked so hard to take back these forest reserves. We still have some few reds, but there's a lot we've done to make sure that we turn it into green, but continue to make sure the degradation is bad. It's terrible.
You've been doing 2 things visibly. Meeting stakeholders,
yes,
and telling us the state of deforestation and destruction. Some people would say, in terms of meeting stakeholders, that's great. But why do you keep telling us the state of play? Because in opposition, we knew this. As in, when people were campaigning for Galamsey to stop, they were actually quoting the same things you're quoting. So why are you taking the trouble to repeat all these things to us?
Can you imagine? Have you seen where the Ministry of Lands is? The Ministry of Lands is a tiny office right there. I don't have soldiers. I don't have police. All of this is happening in every district in Ghana. For example, if you see me meeting all the members of parliament and the stakeholder, what I'm telling them is that take leadership in your constituencies. When you see me working with traditionalists, directly talking to them. These are the landowners. These are the people that are directly in charge of these districts that are impacted. The young people who are there. These are the people that must understand the consequences of doing nothing. And so these engagements are very important. And I've seen the impact. I've seen community leaders that have stood up. There's one community where they formed their own group and said that, you know what, there will be no illegal activity here. And we believe that we can be successful as a government by showing leadership at the top. But also importantly, while we are showing leadership, we are also getting the buy-in of every Ghanaian, including those that are impacted. And that, if you are telling them to do that, exactly what are you also doing to empower them? If you see me say that we are going to change the way we issue mining licenses, this is the reason. How come that somebody will sit in a village in a Lembele only to see a guy walking with a so-called prospecting license, his first time going there, saying that I have a license? The work came to the farm and it's a cocoa farm. Who gave you this cocoa farm? He said they look at the map and this is what they gave me. That must stop. So when we are proposing, and you see some policy proposals that we are working on, we want to make sure we decentralize licensing. It must start at the district, and my argument is that it must start with the DISEC, working with the EPA, Minerals Commission at the district level, and that's why we support strongly the decentralization of the district approach by the MINCOM to build offices all over the country. That license will be approved, and then it will come to Accra for simply approval, will be recommended, and come to Accra for approval. The DC and the president will make it clear when they are appointed. Their KPIs will be how you fight galamsey, top priority, because you are going to be the chair of the people that initiate the alliances in the first place. This is a dramatic shift from the past. When you get the people who are impacted as part of the process, they will be empowered to fight and make sure these things don't happen.
So decentralization of the fight is one difference between what you're doing and the previous administration.
No, there's something else.
Yeah, I'm listing it. So that's one.
That's one.
What's the second difference?
The second one is political will at the top. political will. Political will at the top, when the president says to everybody that if you are in my government and you are caught in galamsey, you are going to face the same punishment as every Ghanaian, we will not shield you. That's leadership. That's political will. And I have said, I'm the minister, I have said, and the interior minister has emphasized that, if we arrest the Chinese, you want to release them? The only person who appointed me is the president with support of the vice president. Let them call me. But we are going to push and make sure that people who are arrested will face the full rigors of our laws. It doesn't matter your status. This is critical.
So let me get you straight. Political will, as demonstrated by his announcement. I remember earlier...
We are taking the steps as well.
There was an announcement or a report that an MP was involved in galamsey.
Yes.
What has happened to that MP?
That MP is on the current investigation by Parliament. The Speaker, having worked with us, is already engaging us on investigating and knowing the facts. There's a lot of angles to this very story. And so you want to make sure you get to the bottom and know what the truth is. And I think that is being done.
Still on that, on 5th March, there was a report by Erastus Aredonko that NDC officials resist seizure of galamsey equipment as government team faces hostile reactions. This story was published widely, and he basically said that a team was sent to, he said, especially inspect galamsey sites. In Dunkwa, tensions escalated as minders led by the NDC constituency chairman mobilized to confront the team. What has happened to that NDC constituency chairman?
You know what the leadership is? One of the things we did, and I did that, I put a team together, and I said, I'm not putting a team from my ministry. I want to add everybody, including people who have really led this effort. And the reason I invited your own Erastus is because over the years he's been dealing with this issue. So his participation, I wrote a letter to you, and I needed a broad session of Ghanaians. And I told them that, yes, when this information, and it was brought out, I was the first to condemn that act, and I called the commander in that area to make sure that people who are involved in that are arrested and prosecuted.
So this was in the Akwesi J and one?
Yes.
But I'm talking about...
No, this is the other one. The Akwesi J and one, let me give you a very good update. The person that attacked them was arrested. The court has really pronounced that the camera and others are to be paid, and then I think that has been done. I personally called the police in the last few days to make sure that all of that is transferred to...
we are grateful for that. But on the NDC guy in Dunkwa, that official, what has happened to him?
I think the police was handling it. And, you know, the thing about our laws is that you have to be arrested and go through the rigors of the processes of our court. I'm not sure exactly, I don't have the current update of that, but I know that that incident was not a very good incident. I'm not very sure where the status is, but let me make it clear. It doesn't matter, where we are in this fight, it doesn't matter your political polarization. I think we must all agree that people, for example, who are destroying our water bodies, who are actually blocking it, who are destroying our forest reserves, cannot be my comrades in NDC. They are terrible people that must be dealt with.
Don't you think the NDC, either at the local level, regional, should have issued a statement condemning his action or even dissociating the party on the basis that NDC ruled on galamsey?
We don't even know some of the facts, but this report that was reported by Erastus Donko.
Yes.
That's the one I'm telling you.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
I'm saying that it happened because the minister led the team across the country, and the minister made sure, and that's leadership.
No, we appreciate that. I'm just asking what has happened to the guy.
I'm saying that.
Well, at least you should let us know that.
Asking the police.
So the police are dealing with it.
I think you should be asking.
Fair enough. I thought maybe the NDC could say, this is not the behavior we want from NDC officials because our party...
I think we've been saying it. I think
No, it's the action.
Yeah, I think we've been saying that. But
the action against, disown him, call him out, tell him that you're not a member of the party.
Let me say it again.
Yeah.
I told the police in Kumasi the last time when I said, Mr. Police people, do your job. And when you arrest people, please don't expect any phone call from anybody because that call will not come. And if anybody calls you, please report the person for us to deal with. And I think that's leadership, and that's the difference.
So we are still on the list. Number 1, decentralizing the fight. Number 2, political will from the top.
Yes.
What's number 3?
Change your policy. A real change of policy, and I've told you what we are doing so far. So far, for example, we must make sure the processes of licensing is also cleaned up. We can't be giving political licenses, we can't be doing licensing to cronies without following the processes. I mean, can you imagine, why do we have the Transitional Act after election? Making sure that that 30 days period, we use our time, let things go through the right processes. Unfortunately, in some of these rights, it didn't happen. But more importantly, people who have been given licenses are also breaking the rules. Some of them have not come back to, for example, renew their licenses. Some of them EPA licenses have expired. Some of them are supposed to mine in this area. They've gone past it. And so this review we are doing is going to try to make sure everybody's in line. To make sure we sanitize the system. I talked about the ban on community mining.
Yeah.
I mean, we did a study within this short period. It was very clear that community members in these community areas, frankly, were not involved in community mining. They were involved in name only. That must change. If we say that we want to do something to empower communities, we must do it well. In the vision we have, what we want to do is that we want to do community mining cooperatives. This must be led by truly the community.
So you will change the way community mining is manifested?
Completely.
Not ban it, but change it?
No, change it completely.
Good. So you've listed about 4 things.
The true word of community mining.
Good. You did 2 things that were giving high media coverage.
Yes.
River Guards, 400 and something, and Tree for Life. You've heard the criticism about River Guards that they cannot match up to the brute force of those let me finish the question, who are basically destroying our water bodies. Your answer has been that these guys are first responders who report.
Okay.
Based on what we've heard about the way the miners are armed, are you not endangering their lives by putting them on the rivers?
Yes, but they are not soldiers, they are not police, they are not armed guards. They are being trained by the Marine, the Navy, the Ghana Navy.
Okay.
The Ghana Navy has a very clear plan on this whole, and let me say that this whole concept was really thought out in collaboration with the Ghana Navy. The plan is that they go through a 1-month intense training, including swimming and other activities. The Ghana Navy is creating 12 riverine bases along river stretches. But you know that they don't have the manpower to spread themselves so thin along these river banks. The people we are recruiting are from the river banks, the community areas.
Okay.
And they are going to be the ears and the eyes of the Navy and the security forces. They are also going to be an interface between the community. They are going to be more of people, because the training also involves them understanding the impact.
So is that an admission that the Navy and the Army cannot permanently be at in the river basins?
No, they cannot.
They need these guys to be there, and then they'll alert.
Yes. So for example, the riverine bases will be close enough to these areas so that on the short notice, when this information reaches them, they can act. Because oftentimes these communities are helpless. And so we are creating a structure that allows coordination. But more importantly, we are also creating community members that are empowered to also educate their own community in the areas.
To change the opinion about illegal mining.
Because in the final analysis, this fight will be won not by guns, by minds and our own willingness and our hearts.
In the long term, I understand this.
That's what it is.
What about and sorry, I'm moving quickly because I need you to sort of summarize what we know before we discuss what is yet to be done. The issue of Trees for Life. We've seen tree planting again under your predecessor. What's different about Trees for Life from that one?
This is very critical. I already talked to you about 5,000 hectares of our forest gone. That forest reforestation is critical. But this Tree for Life is more than that.
Okay.
This morning I've written to the Minister of Education to engage the minister because we want to do a joint partnership to involve school children to involve school children in tree planting, to involve the people of Ghana. Look, we want to make sure that the spaces in Ghana, including all our beaches, have trees always. It is stated that 1/3 of every space we have must be trees. And that is the only way we can be protected going forward in the future. So we are going to go beyond vegetation of our forests, but also in the cities, in our coastal areas, planting fruit trees and others. And so it's a bigger program to basically make our country green. So we are going to make Ghana green once again. It's a bigger project. It's forestry. It's helping. It's a partnership with the Ministry of Agric to also grow food, because I talked about tree crops that are profitable. It's also focusing in helping to build our timber industry back. And this week we have a team going to make a case on timber that Ghana will be able to focus on and plant. And how it will help with income generation for our country. So we are doing all of this in different aspects. So this is what is different about the Tree for Life.
Some people say, here and say, fata.
No, correct.
So that whilst tree planting is great, you need to stop the road. There are reports that there are hundreds of people currently mining in either forest reserves or on river bodies as we speak.
That's correct.
So the priority should be stopping them and then doing the tree planting. So some people said, for example, this tree planting and then the guards seems to have turned the priorities on his head. That you stop the person, let him move away from the forest before you then reclaim. But you seem to be dealing with the easier one first.
This is what we say to it. We still have a lot of our forests and even open spaces that we need to plant trees to basically make sure. So we are not only focusing on reforestation, we are also doing afforestation. But also to say that we must basically stop everything else, don't do anything, just continue with the fight with guns, it's basically not understanding how big this picture is. I think we must do all of it at the same time. For example, when I talk about the reforms in the licensing regime, you can't simply say that you won't focus on the licensing regime. Okay. Because if you do that, what you are saying is that all these people who have licenses that are breaking the rules, they should continue breaking the rules. No, we should. While we are doing the fight, and I'm very proud, and let me tell you, from 2022, and this is from the Ghana Security, there was completely no intervention in the forest reserve. The reason we got to where we are is that for almost 3 years, these bad guys had a field day in the forest reserve. In fact, we were giving more forest licenses in our forest reserve, while at the same time the army was told, and the defense minister was arguing that he doesn't have the report. But that's what the report was. There was no military incursion in the forest reserve for almost 3 years. And that has changed. The reason you see all these places turn red is because we are being aggressive without being noisy. But it's not easy. Just in the last few days, you heard what happened, where a forest reserve in the shelter belts we had reclaimed, this group attempted to go in. And the difference is that anytime the military help the forest guards to claim a forest, then it means the forest guards can control it. Then it means it's yellow. And so they thought they had claimed the place yellow. All of a sudden they were invaded by these armed guards. And there were exchanges. And as I speak, one of the forest officers just got out of surgery today.
After he was cut in the knee?
Yes. So it's not an easy fight. But I think that we are determined, we are going to be relentless, we are going to be focused, and the people of Ghana with their support will prevail.
The minister has listed about 6 things he's done. When we come back, I'm going to suggest to him 5 things we think he should be doing, and we'll take his reaction. This is the point of view. Stay with us.